Necrotic Triggers! Death Metal Dick Triggers! Necrotic Triggers! DMDS!
Okay, so this week's Discogs is Spectral Law 3. And Spectral Law appears to me to be a one piece from Athens, and the guy goes by the name of Alos. Fourth full length, which kind of pisses me off a bit because it's called 3.
It's called
but...
3.
What are you going to do? This was released in 2014 by Voidhanger Records.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I will say is that I hope this goes well, because I regret suggesting this for the simple fact of I was very drunk, and this album, just full disclosure, I hold this up with almost religious reverence in how much I like this album. So if this doesn't go well, there might be a school shooting.
So what you're saying is you shouldn't have suggested this to a person who gave one of your favourite albums.
Hold on one sec. Can I even say school shooting?
Yeah.
And not on YouTube. You can say it anywhere else.
You've already made a Columbine joke, you madman.
Yeah,
Very Columbine. Yeah. Right, so Spectral Law number 3. First track is
Hocus Pocus.
Phallus.
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 I wrote on my notes the shortest track.
Is it?
It's factually the shortest track.
Factually true.
It's factually true. It's 7 minutes.
Can we get Snopes on this?
Then the second one
mostly false.
It is the shortest track in Mad Men.
No, it is, but that's a mostly false on Snopes.
Okay.
It's long.
It's long. Yeah,
technically it is, yes, the shortest track, but it's also not a short track.
It's also the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th the 6th longest track in the world.
It's not mostly false. It's not the shortest track that Spectral Law has ever released.
Yeah, but right.
So anyway.
Mostly false.
So anyway, I when I listen to these to do the reviews, I put them on a couple of times, just while I'm doing other stuff, to get a feel for it. And I initially thought that it sounds a bit avant-garde, and I'm not really into that type of stuff. Like I tried listening to Fed Buen's Ender because it got recommended loads of times. I was like, no, I just can't. It's too fucking avant-garde for me. Like, I'm tapping out. But I started listening to it, and it's actually not really. Like, it's definitely got a couple of weird bits in it, but it's not. It's not really that avant-garde. It's just a bit atmospheric, innit? A bit melodic. You can definitely hear the black metal influence though at the start, like the way it starts with this first track, Bomphalos.
Well, it jumps straight into it,
yeah.
doesn't it?
Yeah. And it sort of morphs between different. It changes, like there's no clear delineation between sections. Like it morphs into something else before you've even realised it's changed.
I also found that you listen to this track and you hear when the changes happen before you notice they're happening. So like you hear it as in like it starts fading into the actual main song. That's what I noticed a lot of the first one. Then all the other ones is sort of
opposite of what I said.
No. You hear it in like the background there's like an echo. It's weird. So if you listen to it, like you can hear it starting. You can't actually.
It builds in. It's not sudden.
It's not like, and then it happens, but you realise before, like it's like an echo in his lyric or something. You'll hear, like just constantly something happening.
I'll say my track by track, but then I'll kind of reveal what I mean by this at the end. So for me, and why I have that opinion. So Omphalos for me is anger. It's the initial reaction. It's destructive and it's overwhelming, which gives way to emptiness and desolation at about 3 minutes, when the waves of realization start crashing in. You move on to, you've got your 4 minutes 20. Oh, nice. Where there's the shriek. This is where hopelessness and despair set in. It's with the melancholic melody and howling. And then the song ends on uncertainty.
And
That's your first red pill.
Then the absolute drum beat that comes in then though. Mm-hmm. It's like it's well timed, mostly solid. Mm-hmm. Like musically solid, not mostly solid. I'm reading my notes wrong. Musically solid.
That the Veiled Gardens next track, right?
Veiled Garden.
Yeah.
Veiled Garden
it's almost like it's an EP within itself.
Yeah, it's the longest track.
Yeah. Because once again, it goes through those different parts and stuff, and
it starts slow, like slower than the first song, and then builds in with the howling screams. Like it starts intriguing me, like as a listener. The backbeats on the drums make my head move like involuntarily because I was trying to listen to it, but I'm like moving my head to it. And then I wrote, "It's a journey." It is a journey of the song because like it's ups, downs, and then I get the break in the middle with the loud crashes and like the musical suspense leading into a quiet break. And then back into the exotericalness. I don't know if that's a word, but of this black metal, and then for 16 minutes it will entrance you. Is what I wrote about this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for me, the Veiled Garden continues on from Omphalos's trajectory. You're setting off on an uncertain journey. You're doing your best not to look back, but there's moments like 3 minutes and 5 minutes where reality comes crashing down again. The situation just hits you like a ton of bricks. there's that sort of swelling of anger at hopelessness when you reach the 3 minute and 5 minute mark. But you have to summon your strength to push forward, which takes you on to at 7 minutes with the fade out and the machine subtly bleeping. It's like to me this is like a complete loss of direction. It's numbness sets in, and then it erupts in the most violent outburst on the album at 9 minutes into the song. You've been wronged, you're angry, and you don't care anymore. You can't just pretend everything's fine. This is a part of you now. The tension at about 12 minutes with the frustrated tremolo. You can't see an end in sight. It rises and rises to the point of even inhumanly fast percussion on the drums. Because it's obviously a drum machine, and it's more fast than is physically possible at the end of this, towards the end of this song. It's
Hold Me Beer.
Gene Hogan.
Yeah, right. It's George Calias, and then you've also got Mike
Hellhammer.
Mike Mangini.
Hellhammer. Hellhammer could play it.
Yeah, but you got Mike Mangini from Doomfire.
Oh yeah, he could play.
Yeah, he could definitely play it.
If you think that's possible, I mean, I definitely fucking disagree with that.
mate. Anything's possible if you meme it.
Who's got the most snare hits in a minute? It's Mike Mangini.
Mike Mangini. I think a kid beat him though. Like a.
But Zumas are all Kumas, so obviously he beats him. Right?
And then I think Mike Mangini also held the record for the most consecutive double bass kicks before going out of time as well. It was like 11 or 12 minutes or something. Mental like that.
That is insane.
Yeah, like consecutive at the same BPM.
So from that part with the drums, in my opinion, going inhumanly fast, it's a recognition of the mammoth journey ahead. Everything's coming crashing down up to that very primal interlude. Where night begins, you've got like the crickets and the animal sounds. So night begins, but tomorrow is coming, and then that takes you on to third song, which is the Cold March.
This is my favourite track on the album. It starts with the black metal riffing and the wind and that, which is what I like. Black metal. And then I thought I'd go and have a look at the lyrics. It seems Nietzschean, Jungian, maybe in nature, which I think what you've been telling me about your interpretation stuff seems to make sense. And I noticed at this point that all of the songs seem to be two parts. It seems to be a dichotomy between the first half and the second half of each. And then I like the end with the melodic guitars because I'm a sucker for guitars. So I like the little melodic bits at the end. It sounded almost hopeful, and
Definitely.
And then I think I've written some stuff further on about guitar parts as well, but I'll leave those for then.
Well, for the Cold March, I was like 5 minutes in. Like I knew that you would like it because about 5 minutes mark. It's a black and punky song, isn't it? It's Dark Throne. It's that same beat, same guitar riffs, and even the vocals coming in, the timings and stuff. It is. I was like,
I'll have to look at it with that in mind.
Yeah, and I was like, when it dips out again and then builds back in, like at 12 minutes of Jorgen. Like playing with the screams over the top is like a nice touch as well. Like, and then the guitars like on this song especially, like the guitarists are on point. Like you can't, I couldn't fault anything. Like it was good.
If we carry on for me from the Vale Garden where I was saying that night sets in, well, the Cold March is tomorrow's here, and you take that step anyway. It's tough, but you start taking that step. You're going to emerge from this, and not only will you get to the other side, you're going to conquer this and get out better than you were when you went in. It won't be easy, but it's fucking happening. You won't let this shit defeat you, and nothing's going to get in your way. About 6 minutes, it's starting to feel pretty good too. Eight minutes, new fucking horizons. You see them, they exist. You can do it. $10 to 11 minutes, just pure discovery, feeling a sense of fulfillment again. This might just work, and the end section is just beautiful. It's like awakening.
Yeah, I agree. You can hear that at the end. Like I was saying earlier on, it sounds hopeful in there.
Yeah. That takes us on to track 4, drifting through moss and ancient stone.
Cool.
You gonna go?
This one reminds me of like a film track. So basically, what you like, because it's more like piccolo style guitar, isn't it? And then I wrote the chord chant in as well, brings you back in from
yeah.
it's because it's an instrumental track. But until the chorus chanting comes in. It was like it just brings you back into the focus. Like I really thought this one was like a nice break between the anger you felt in the last song going into this one was like a nice refreshing coming out of it, and then you're about to go into like the next song. Basically, what I got from it, like it's a nice break, a nice pause for it. What have you got, Warhound?
So is there sort of like an interlude where there's organs and stuff, or is that part of the track?
Yeah.
Because it's different, isn't it? Sounds almost the way that it goes. It sounds almost like folk metal-y.
Yeah.
And there's many different varied elements on this track. It's there's even an acoustic passage. I wrote down here that it's not black metal, but you'd have to like black metal to like this album.
Yeah.
But I sort of changed my mind on that by the end.
I don't think anyone would. I think that you are right with that, because I don't think that anyone could get past the start of this album if they didn't like black metal.
I think it's only a couple of minutes.
Yeah, but that's
it is. It's a hard barrier to get through if you don't. Yeah, but for the payoff and that, you know.
Yeah.
Earlier on, you were saying on the Veiled Garden, there's swells of energy and stuff. There's swells of energy in this. This is where I wrote down about swells of energy and stuff. And it doesn't feel unresolved. Because usually when people build up energy that doesn't go anywhere, it feels like you're waiting for something, but it doesn't feel like that here.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel unresolved, and that just ties into the morphing nature of the whole album. How things just morph into each other and change and develop.
That's what I when we were listening to last week.
Okay.
And you were saying about it's leading to nothing. I was listening to this, thinking that in mind as well. I was going like, all right, it's like 16 minutes long songs, 14-minute long song, like 13. I was like, oh no, man, like it's atmosphere. And the first track was like, oh, it's gonna be atmospheric black metal again, isn't it? I'm gonna not be able to sit through this. And then this like song was to the point where I'm like, oh, it's welcome, and I didn't feel at any point during it was like not good and like not building up. Like it was its own track. It's its own like story in this story sort of thing. yeah, there's no like letdowns because it didn't. It doesn't trick you into there being a letdown, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So, well, I'd like to hear what do Hammerhead has to say.
So I think drifting through Moss and Ancient Stone. It's for me. It's peace at last. It's finally something resembling satisfaction. It's almost a reprieve from the toils of forging yourself into a better position than you were in before. Briefly, you rest and admire. About 9 minutes in, you got the choral. Ooh. That's in my mind. This is you looking back at where you were and how far you've come, and that's it. Moving on to Spiral Fountain.
So I felt this track carried on as much in a similar vein as the rest. The only thing I thought was there was a transition in here that felt a little bit jarring. Which kind of stood out because
the rest isn't like that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But it was kind of a traditional way of doing a transition, which it wouldn't have stood out to me in any other context.
Okay, just because the rest was so seamless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other album, I would have heard that and just not even thought about it. But in the context of this, where everything is just sort of so blended together, that's all I wrote down for that.
I was just listening to this song, like every time it gets to this song, I know that my favorite song's coming, so it's like,
okay.
I like this song a lot, but it's not like the stat. Yeah. It's the only one that doesn't stand out for me. So when I'm trying to write about it, I wasn't like.
That's fair. I'll be honest on this one. So I did actually start. I started to run out of time, so I haven't put a lot for this. Apart from, in my opinion, it is a continuation. It's onwards and upwards. It's ascendance, and it's the beginnings of victory. The Spiral Fountain. And that's all that I've got for that before 6, which is. Are we ready to go on to 6?
Yeah.
So that's a rider in the lands of an infinite dreamscape.
The start of this track is melodic black metal, and the riffing is almost like folky riffing again.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier on. But at this point in the album, I know that this track isn't going to finish the way that it started.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's. I'm actually looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Cool.
What's he gonna do? Where's he going with this? How's he gonna develop this? And it is easy to lose track. And the next time I sort of found myself back in the music, it was like almost doomy section, and then there was bass riffs. I was like, oh yeah. But again, it doesn't feel jarring. It doesn't feel out of place.
It's natural.
Yeah.
I wrote this is my favorite song of the album.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it is like I like it how the intro follows on from the last song, flows straight into it, and it's like the Howard vocals. It's like how he opens up and lets his actual like his vocals flow into sort of the song. So good. And then the bass riffs as well. Riffs hard. That's nothing else to say. I just really liked it. It's like I was so in like I was actually like so looking forward to this song after I listened to Spiritual Pharaoh. I was like, I can't write anything because I'm like just listening to it every time.
So for me, I might agree with you there. I think now this is probably my favorite song. Obviously, based on the sort of trajectory that I'm taking this on, that kind of makes sense. It's for me. This is at this point, it's pure wonderment and awe. And you know, you've worked hard, and as you review the fruits of your labor, you're getting that sense of awe. About 5 minutes in, there's that chilling minory section in the otherwise quite majory song. The way that I view this is you will of course still encounter adversity from time to time, but now you're bigger than you were. You have the tools and experience to deal with it now, and it's nothing. You can deflect that shit off and carry on climbing. Like literally within the next 2 minutes, and it's gone. And then the next thing you know, there's that fucking swell again. Beginning at about 8 minutes 30, and you got another man, this is that's orgasmic, that part. Oh, it's just like nothing can stop you now.
Yeah.
Man.
I was quite impressed to see there was a One Piece.
It's fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one dude it's very well composed. It's just,
Yeah.
actually, it bumped up my Bold Months rating a little bit. Just seeing it was a One Piece.
I'll add on to that. Sort of what I just said about it. Like nothing can stop you now, and that general trajectory of starting to win that like victory. I think in this way that Spiral, Fountain, and Rider in the Lands are almost like two parts of a whole. To me, it's like the happy resolution lasting longer into the future than the trials and tribulations. Whereas I can say that in most of the album, in terms of the album structure, every song represents something different. It's kind of like the vibe of this one and the previous are quite similar, and that's my explanation for it. I think if we want to move on to track 7, Cosmic Significance.
You're on about the sci-fi floaty in space.
Yeah, because it's just a instrumental dungeon synth track. Right?
Yeah. It's what I expect Escape Dark Vector to be.
But it seems fitting in a way because it's so different to everything else. In the way that everything's, it shouldn't have ended the way that it started.
I literally read it's a fitting end to the story, basically / album. So it definitely fitted in, but it's like floating in a sci-fi inspired space orgy. That's what I wrote, but I don't think I meant to put orgy. And then the drums are pretty good in this track too, but then again, it's like if it's a drum machine, it's going to be good, isn't it?
So, Cosmic Significance to me, as has been pointed out, it's quite different to the rest, and I'd say that in a strange way, this used to be my favorite song, for what it represents to me, and cosmic significance to me is pure transcendence. So it's, for me, it's going beyond reality and touching the numinous. You've managed to reach fulfillment in yourself, in your day-to-day life, and then you go further into seeking spiritual fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's a wider scope. It's different. It's a different world, but you have your foundation now, and you're ready to explore that, and that's cosmic significance.
But do you think you can find significance within yourself if you don't try and explore spiritual significance?
You're correct. You're correct. I thought about that as well, because there's an argument that you need that in order to reach fulfillment overall. But if we want to move on to the ratings, I'll say why I think that. It's basically because I don't know how obvious it was in the way that I was explaining this, but I viewed a lot of this as recovering from something like, let's just say, this is also why I was a bit apprehensive about suggesting this album. Long story short, it's getting out of depression after losing someone that you love and dealing with that, trying to move on from that grief, and becoming more than you were before. And that's what this album is to me. And I'd place cosmic significance as being the spiritual aspect, because that's sort of similar to how it was in myself, in that when I was going through depression, and I didn't even want to get this heavy, so this is kind of why I was a bit iffy about this, but it because in myself, when I was struggling, I wasn't in a place to seek spiritual fulfillment, if that makes sense. And it's only when emerging from the other side that I sort of kept pushing for more, and then began to to begin to truly experience that.
Fair.
Yeah, mate, fair.
So now that I've killed the mood, should we?
Yeah, I'll give it.
I think we should do one note on spiritual significance, or spiritual clarity, and what it means to the individual is that it's different. I think it's different to everyone. You'll explore different avenues and try and find different things, and what works for someone else won't work for you in the same way.
Yeah, not necessarily.
I don't think.
No, that makes sense.
Well, it's like you can do the same. Like it's the same thing. We can listen to a song, but everyone interprets it
Different ways.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with your spirituality. Like you have to interpret it in your own way, otherwise you can't benefit from it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the experience should be unique to the individual. Otherwise, you're not really experiencing something that is special. It's that personal interaction with the divine that is special. It's not something that's not cookie cutter and is just distributed equally to everyone. It's that
Shouldn't
individual.
ever be dependent on other people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to other people being a framework for it, but you yourself have to put the work in.
Yeah. That being said, nonce.
Should we give our bold nonces?
Yeah.
Well, I'm giving it. Right, I've written down here. It's 3, maybe 2. So I'm going to give it a 2.
Is that the highest rating you've given so far?
No, it's the same. I've given what's the one where we flailed their skin off?
Necrot.
Mortal.
Okay,
Mortal.
yeah.
It's up there with Necrot Mortal. Like it 4 albums for me. That's like it's going to be If Those What's Loyal is the only one I think. That and Mercenary, 2 Bolt Thrower albums. I think I'll give 0 bolt nonces to.
So 2 is basically your limit, unless it's bolt thrower.
But I don't know who's going to be.
What's the point in the 7 scale for you?
There's no point. There's no point in it.
It's two or none.
It's 2 or none.
Fuck me.
All right, I'll give it a 1.9.
You can't do it's half nonce.
You can do half.
No, mate. I'm giving it a fucking 3. No, I'm giving it 2. 2 is 2.
Okay, all right.
2 bold nonces.
It's 2 bold nonces and half of a goblin nonce.
A goblin nonce? Fucking hell.
Oh, mate. I'll get some quotes from goblin nonce. Don't you worry.
Tipping point nonce.
Right.
I don't know. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go 1.5 bold nonces.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you minus a 1 from you saying
that is the minus.
Okay, it's minus 0.5 then. Just say 2.
No, it's what?
Just join me at 2.
No, it's 1.5 bold nonces.
What's yours, Hammerhead?
No bold nonces.
No
bold nonces.
That's our first perfect score.
That's our first
perfect score.
That's going on the board.
Hey.
Round of applause. But he just texted me saying he's giving it 1.
I'll just be clear. At this point, this album is a part of my soul. If you get what I mean.
You're rating your soul 0 bold nonsense.
So
Well,
what you're
it's better
saying
than
is there's
saying
no
you've
you
got a
space.
perfect soul.
You got.
Yeah. Oh,
Are you
I
saying
don't have any nonce in my soul though. Fucking hell. So just to finish off my zero nonsense there, it's I don't know if it's obvious enough, but this album was very instrumental in taking me from a very dark time into a much better place, and it was the soundtrack of that, and it was, when you have and there's an album for you that is almost like an old friend, because it's such a significant thing in who you are almost.
Basically, the Green Album.
Oh yeah, I can see that. But I like what this represents in the sense of overcoming it, because it's not just where the Green Album, obviously, I like it, but it's very negative. I considered this very much recognizing towards the start, recognizing that adversity, but overcoming it, becoming more, getting stronger, getting better, self-improvement, the album. Zero nonsense. There you fucking go.
Self-help book, the album.
I think we're on about one bold nonce overall.
Is that the average?
You say two.
Should we
I said one
should we
and a
put the
half.
average in? Should we fucking duck go what the average is? Because I can't do maths. I'm fucking smashed.
I've been doing R. I could do statistics with R if you want.
Go on then.
All right, fucking hell. Woo! Right, live stats with R.
This is ridiculous. Just literally say one.
So yours shitbag was 2. Then it was 1.5 Warhound. Yeah.
0, 1.5, and 2.
2.
Right.
Okay. I know what the average is now.
If you do mean it's 1.5.
It is 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
No, the average isn't 1.5. The average is 1.16.
1.16667.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bold nonsense.
So average is, I guess, technically rounded. That's 1.2.
The average is 1.2.
Let's say 1.5 bold nonsense to be generous.
Be generous. Closer to 1.
Yes,
if it's not at 5, you round it down. If we're doing whole scores, it's closer to 1 than 5. It's closer to 1 than 1.5.
I'll change your mind to 3. Let's see what does.
Let's play around with the means. This is our podcast. 1 bold nonce. That's it. Verdict.
1 bold nonce. 1 bold nonce. Happy
1
with
bold
that.
nonce.
There we go. Fucking sick.